And we'll now have Mr. Tuna Guclu. Sir, could you please state your name and your interest?
My name is Tuna Guclu. I own and operator of Crown Cabs. I've been in the industry for nearly 20 years.
And could you give an opening statement,
Okay.
please?
I've picked a few recommendations to talk about. Recommendation 1.2. Country areas should not be treated as same as metropolitan area. Country area drivers provide more efficient service to their metropolitan and country area drivers are more efficient service due to their familiarity with the regular customers. 2. Country taxis perform a far larger percentage of transport service in the country due to the lack of public transport. It is unprofitable for the government to provide country areas with extended public transport. The country taxi provide a very good, reliable service. If there is a demand for more taxis in some rural areas, they should be offered to the current taxi NSPs and co-ops operating in those zones. All new aspiring individuals could then lease licence from the NSP while retaining the umbrella provided. He could then become a career driver and after 10 years service be given a licence. This would create an incentive for longevity of service, reward for effective superannuation and income for life.
So just to get that, if someone's been a driver for 10 years, they can get a licence for nothing?
Well, yes, if they've committed and made a career of it, I believe that they deserve some kind of remuneration. And so basically, career driver and after 10 years service given that licence, this would create incentive for longevity service, sorry, just going over that, reward for effort, superannuation and income for life. The customer is the best served by the driver's training, dedication and specialised local knowledge. It would not be financially viable for the next taxi NSP or co-ops of those zones to continue operating if licences are issued to non-NSP associates. The overhead costs of running a taxi business with current technology would be compromised by the inclusion any new non-affiliated operators. New operators might pick and choose the hours they work, leaving the late night peak, public holiday, etc. shifts to current taxi NSP or co-ops of those zones. NSPs and co-ops are already experiencing unwillingness of owner-drivers affiliates in not accommodating dispatching bookings. They display an attitude of selfishness in that they refuse to take bookings in favour of servicing regular clientele. They have stolen from the NSP in this first place. The old days, this was called bowling. You cannot expect the other good service providing NSP drivers to carry these greedy individuals. If they refuse normal dispatch work, they would come under scrutiny and to their suitability to provide required service and be responsible for their actions. Suspension by the NSP is not an option because these operators are required at peak periods. A financial penalty issued by the VTD of drivers refusing work should be implemented. Recommendation 1.4. Annual set licence fees are unworkable in that they will create an oversupply of taxis in both rural and urban areas. Oversupply means people not being able to support their business. New people coming into the industry will fail. There is absolutely no doubt about this. Only NSP affiliates can survive because of the industry knowledge and backup support they provide. Recommendation 1.5. We believe if the government wants to generate income, they should release more licences according to proven demand only and not just any application request. New licence buyers should operate for a minimum 2 years before signing or leasing. This will give background experience and a great understanding to the operator who was listing the licence in regards to profit margin and assignment price. The licence should be termed a title rather than a permit. A title confers ownership. A stamp duty component may be applicable. More licences should be issued according to proven demand and population growth. Town community transports linked service must use taxis before government grants are issued. They do not contact taxi service providers before requesting government grants as to taxpayers' expense. How many times have they contacted the nearest taxi service providers asking for assistance? We have offered free rides, discount travel cards to their clients, $5, $10, $20 discount cards. We have offered random free rides after advertising them on night shifts in our country areas. Even then, the work was minimal. We work hard to increase work for our drivers, especially night shift. We marked our areas with discounted taxi travel, 10 to 20% on metered fare, including discount cards. We do ask for a fair increase, and we are asking for a fair deal that is suitable for all parties. The country areas is lacking growth economically. Releasing more licences will not solve issues. It will only highlight the lack of work. If the driver ability and customer base is there, then the taxi licence should be operated 24 hours. The cost to operate increases every year according to CPI. Why does the Department of Transport increase their fees except for taxi fare? Service, safety and choice. Recommendation 2.10. They are only a backdoor entrance to doing taxi work and a hire car work. There is few out there that do not adhere to the guidelines and regulations. They seem to be untouchable. Customer first must come with customer safety in regards to over 25-year-old vehicles. Example, no airbags. Safety, modification of parts, non-genuine parts not available. We believe hire cars should be enforced to install a GPS tracker and be connected to an NSP for passenger safety, including panic buttons, etc. 6.12. Our structure for driver awards be based around industry service performance. There should be a minimum 2 years driving experience before applying for a licence. Years of service. People who stay in the industry should be offered an opportunity to purchase various types of licences as a career. Advancement, inducement, example, Watts after 5 years service with specialised training compulsory. Conventional after 10 years service. This should be available at half the last sold licence of its type, and each licence should be able to be kept in conjunction with market price. This simple step would make driving a career. Reward for the effect of experienced drivers who love their industry, while creating an automatic superannuation scheme in their value of their taxi licence. I have tried to bring things forward differently, and with Country Review I have one more thing that is universal in the industry, and the inquiry has not addressed shrinkage. Shrinkage is a loss of profit through various elements within the industry. The industry shrinkage is no different from any economist must take that its ramifications into account. However, do I see this major cost taken into account in the report? 11.18. I believe there should be separate departments and staff who are familiar, trained and qualified for the metropolitan, regional and country zones, and have an acute understanding and respect of the taxi industry before they are given the power to make serious decisions that determine the impact on the livelihood of owner-operators, drivers and NSP. Safety. Vehicle and driver safety is an important issue. The industry needs a safe taxi and no gadgets with options to have or not to have, example screens. They should not be an option. Safety is not a choice. We need a safety vehicle that provides for all customers and drivers. A safe taxi, SV models, example, Taragos, Kias, should have a 7-year lifespan and must be wheelchair accessible for one wheelchair minimum. Ideal if all taxis accommodated one wheelchair, it would lessen the wait time for wheelchair-bound customers. If we are to have an efficient taxi service, we must be able to service all customers easily. There will be no need for a separate WAT network provider. Having safety features, one example is a door lock controlled by the foot pedal, and choice. A large percent of the country is pre-booked. We rely on government contracts and local industry to keep us afloat. POBs will only decimate struggling business. No one will work for less than what we are earning now, and we can't afford discount fares any more than we are now.
Some water.
Can I get a clean glass?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, start that one again. Choice. A large percentage of country workers prepaid. We rely on government contracts and local industry to keep us afloat. POBs will only decimate the struggling business. No one will work for less than what we are earning now. And we cannot afford discount fares any more than what we are now. Customers' pay will be affected by the continuous increase of running costs, which in return would mean push for a big fare increase, less customer service, less working hours, driver shortage. Who is hurt in all this? The customers. We complied by government regulations. The industry didn't make rules or write the policies. We didn't bend the rules or act outside these policies. Why are we seen to be greedy? We haven't had an increase in 4 years. Victorian passengers are paying one of the lowest fares in Australia. The taxi driver profession isn't only about customer service, it is about how many people we carry or how quick we can get them to their destination. It's how we provide that country service. Thank you.
Okay, and just to explain, I think I know what your business covers, but you've got licences. No, you tell me. Where do you do your business?
Basically, it's northwest east of Melbourne, as far as Melton to Yarra Valley, as high as far as Seymour, and Melbourne metropolitan boundary.
Yep.
So we've got probably about 33 towns and 114 small towns included that we cover.
Yep. Get it.
It's 33 taxis.
And it's interesting because you've, as I understand it, you've got licences in a range of small towns that had previously been separate, sort of zoned areas, and you've combined, in effect, you've combined across those. So, which presumably has given you some greater efficiencies, avoided dead running and so on.
Well, it's given more better service to the smaller towns, because two towns in smaller towns sometimes it's not. It's always work is always out of the area, and there's no backup. So basically, why I created it so every town gave support and backup to each other. 33 towns across, but we still try and keep those vehicles in those areas that were originally allocated. Drivers don't know that, but we just make sure that everyone provides the service, and as when a job has been allocated, that he goes wherever that job is and picks it up.
So there are other areas of the state where you've got similar sort of groupings of towns, but you've still got separate networks operating in those towns. And the question is, are they have as much flexibility?
I just like bureau. I don't bureau anyone. I just do my own taxi service
Mm.
areas.
So we've seen it has been generally desirable to broaden the zones where we can. Have you seen the VTA's proposal on zones?
Yes.
And how do you react to that in terms of your business?
That's fair
being
enough.
Quite close to the
Yeah, well, I think that's pretty well planned. It is where you've got the zones spread out. It's basically growth areas have been, boundaries has been stretched out. Yes, I believe it's a fair call.
And I was very interested to see what you had to say about the purpose-built taxis.
Yes.
You've looked at that, and your 7 years is a sort of a way to perhaps have a longer period to depreciate a vehicle.
That's right. That's the whole idea of it. You can't have a shorter term because then you've got manufacturers obviously coming up with new vehicles. The longer we have, the vehicles that we have, it is possible. We've had problems in the past where manufacturers won't. It's a hurdle. You just don't want manufacture a vehicle for the industry. But if we pick a standard setup or layout, like we have the Maxis, and if we can implement that to SV vehicles, it's protection for the driver, separates the driver from the passenger completely, it brings back the drivers for safety issue, because of safety reasons. It brings back more backup of drivers to be there on peak times. It's the vehicle that I think that's scaring a lot of our drivers. It's the safety issue. Money's not an option. I think money is, how can I say it, second option, because there's money out there if the driver wants to drive. Yeah. It's the more drivers we have out there, it would create more work if we have more drivers. To me, it comes back down to the vehicle. If we have a safe vehicle, we'll have a safe environment and drivers more comfortable in coming out and working.
So is extending the years of length of life of the vehicle, is that enough for you to have on the road one of these safer type purpose-built vehicles?
Well, why I picked 7 years is because car manufacturers won't produce a car for 4 years because it'd be too expensive for us to renew that car after 4 years. Yeah, if we had a manufacturer in Australia that built Australian purpose taxis and lasting 4 years, it's more profitable for them and more for us because we can have supply of parts. Obviously, parts of we wear out faster than normal sedans.
And what about some of the overseas vehicles? I mean, using them, imports, if you like, imported vehicles as safer taxis. What would be required to enable you to do that?
Well, it comes down to the last, bottom dollar at the end of the day. That's been our problem ever since.
Well, how far out of the market are they now for you? I mean,
well, I don't think it's not. Look, there's a lot of SV now vehicles being produced. If the VTD has to be more lenient in restrictions of vehicles, which vehicles we can use and we can't use. So if we had a design, a standard design that wouldn't change much in an SV vehicle, I don't think it would cost that much. It costs $20,000 for a Maxi fit out at the moment, so I can't see it being much of a difference in value when creating one standard fit out.
Okay.
That'd be more cheaper than importing them from overseas.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you very much.